Oops. When I was a kid, I hated tomatoes. I wouldn't eat anything with tomatoes in them. Then one day, what my parents did was that they blindfolded me and they gave me 3 spoonfuls of rice. One of them had tomatoes in it. I couldn't guess which one it was. And since then, I started liking tomatoes. In fact, I would even eat them raw. But when I grew up, I started hating tomatoes again. The taste had completely changed. We were getting tomatoes like this, bright red ones, but somehow the taste just wasn't like what it was in my childhood. What if I told you that you're missing out on juicier, sweeter, much more flavorful and possibly healthier tomatoes like these ones just because we don't know about it? Welcome to Pickle Stories. I'm Anjali and today we're going to be talking about the difference between hybrid tomatoes and Desi tomatoes. Okay, so first of all, tomatoes are actually not from India. The Portuguese brought these to India in the 16th century, which means we've only been eating them for about, say, 500 years. Before that, we used to use things like dahi, imli or mangoes for sourness. So what exactly are desi varieties of tomatoes if tomatoes are not really from India? Well, desi varieties are those which have been grown for generations without making too many modifications. But hybrid varieties like this one have been crossbred for specific purposes, specifically to make them better for cultivation. But does better for cultivation mean that they're better for us? Unfortunately, no. Hybrid varieties have more fruits per plant, whereas desi varieties produce less fruits. And hybrid varieties are also more resistant to pests and diseases, whereas desi varieties not always. These sound like good things, right? You know how they say that going through difficulty makes people better? Turns out it's the same for plants as well. When plants undergo stress in the form of pests or diseases, they actually end up putting in more effort into their fruits. I know it sounds pretty crazy, right? But if you think about it, fruits are the way for plants to actually reproduce, right? It's like when they see that there's stress around, they want to make the fruits even more attractive. So what happens is that desi varieties end up being packed with so much more flavor. Another thing is that because there are lesser number of fruits per plant, the plant puts in more effort into a lesser number of fruits, which means that that much more flavor is packed into these varieties. So you might be thinking, okay, all of this sounds pretty good and okay, it has more flavor, but does that mean it's healthier? Depends on how you look at it. Now, there aren't too many studies about whether a hybrid variety or a desi variety has more vitamin A or vitamin C. But the thing is, there are studies which show that the more flavorful your food is, the more you enjoy it, the more number of nutrients you actually absorb. Isn't that a good enough reason to eat better food? Okay, so now that you're convinced that desi varieties are better, the next question is, how do I tell the difference between a hybrid tomato and a desi tomato? Well, the first difference, like I told you, is flavor. Turns out there are 300 different compounds that contribute to making a tomato actually taste like a tomato. When you bite into a desi tomato, there's a lot of sweetness, there's a lot of sourness, there's just a lot of flavor. Comparatively, a hybrid tomato doesn't have as much flavor and it's also much less juicy. Desi varieties of tomatoes also come in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. They can be big, they can be small, they can be green, they can be yellow, they can be orange. Compared to that, the hybrid tomato generally has this bright red color and it often has this weird elongated shape to it. Sometimes desi tomatoes can also have an elongated shape, but usually that's not the case. One other note about the shape is that a lot of them have these lines running along the sides, which kind of makes them look like mini pumpkins. Hybrid varieties also tend to have a thicker skin compared to Desi varieties. In fact, that's why they're so popular for cultivation now, because you can transport them for long distances without them getting damaged. Which brings me to my next point. You might think that all of these benefits means that hybrid tomatoes are better for farmers, right? Not necessarily. The thing with hybrid tomatoes is that there are lesser number of seeds. In fact, that's one of the reasons why the flavor is also not as strong, because the flavor tends to be concentrated near the seeds. So hybrid tomatoes have lesser number of seeds, whereas Desi tomatoes have more seeds, which means that farmers growing Desi tomatoes can actually save their seeds and use them for the next season of cultivation. They don't have to keep buying seeds every time they're planting the crops. So if it's better for the planet, better for the farmers, it's better for you too. I hope you found this video helpful. If you liked the video, please leave a like button, and if you like it, then hit subscribe. The subscribe button is also red in color, like these tomatoes. No need to hit the notification button, okay? I don't like notifications either. But if you like the video, then do share it with somebody else that you think might benefit from watching it too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye!